Obviously the original Ahsoka, she was really only a kid. Let's be honest. She was basically a teenager when we first met her. She was getting trained by this cocky, arrogant fucking her master, fucking Anakin Skywalker. And then she had, by the end of the Clone Wars, she had to just fend for herself. She was just left to her own devices. She matured a bit. She got a little bit older, but she was still that kind of sassiness when we saw her in Rebels. But then you go from being, again, someone who's on their own majority of the time to then somebody who, by the time we see her now, she has been a mentor and a teacher for somebody else. So she's trying to make sure that she gives as much knowledge as she can, but she doesn't want to be what Anakin was or what Anakin turned into. She's trying to be the more mature person to try to be the teacher. And the way I look at it is, when you look at Obi-Wan, Obi-Wan was a little bit more fun in the prequels, but you have to go from that Obi-Wan to the old Alec Guinness Obi-Wan, who is very much a mentor, a teacher, but he's older, he's wizened, he's mature. So that's the way I look at it. You look at Obi-Wan from episode 1 to episode 6, and then you look at Ahsoka from the Clone Wars all the way up to now. And there are going to be changes. She is going to be older. She's going to be wiser. She is determined, is the word I will use, because this is what she wants. It's not just about finding Tron. It's, you find Tron, you find Ezra. That's what it's about. She wants to get the family back together. I think Rosario Dawson is knocking it out of the park. I think she's absolutely fantastic. She couldn't play Ahsoka the way she was, because that was a different time. The Clone Wars, even though it was a war, it was fun to them. It was fun to her and Anakin. This isn't fun now. They were going. She had to go against the Empire. She had to fight her old master and try to kill him. Person that we had, say 20 years previous. It's just not. She has to be different. She has to be played different. And I think Rosario Dawson knocking it out of the park. She is an absolute badass with 2 white lightsabers.
Yes.
Absolutely badass. And I can't wait to see where this goes.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said there. I think the portrayal logically makes total sense when you think of what that Ahsoka went through. You know what I mean? That Ahsoka died the day of Order 66. You know what I mean? Where her friends, the clones that she'd fought through the Clone Wars with, commanded, bonded with, when she returned, she wasn't a Jedi at this stage. She was just coming back to help Mandalore, to help retake Mandalore from Maul when Order 60, and they just won the Battle of Mandalore when Order 66 came through. And the clone army was so happy to see her that they painted all of their helmets as a tribute to Ahsoka. And then when Order 66 came through, those soldiers who held that level of love for her immediately turned on her and tried to kill her, all except for Rex. You think about that. You think about her master's demise, which she later saw Anakin and had to fight him in Rebels in one of the most traumatic things. And again, Anakin, for all intents and purposes, the fight was, it was a close win for Anakin, for Vader. You know what I mean? But she's had to live with her master dying. The Ahsoka novel, if you've ever read it, or I recommend listening to, I said this last week, listen to the audiobook if you want. Ashley Eckstein narrates. It's brilliant. She's the voice of Ahsoka from the cartoons. But in that, there's a beautiful passage about the survivor's guilt she feels. And she feels the survivor's guilt because at that stage, it's after Order 66, before the rebellion, she feels it because for all she knows, all of her friends that she grew up with in the Jedi are now dead, and she's alive, and she's alive because she left the Jedi Order. And the guilt that she feels about that decision, because she couldn't be there to help them or save them, and she got to survive and they didn't. And all of that just means that she would be a changed person 20 years on. She can't be Snips anymore. I would love to see her be a bit spicy and fun. And I think there are a few knowing smiles she has, you know what I mean? Where she's like, I remember that. I remember being young. I remember being like Sabine. And she sees a lot of herself in Sabine. but she also, like you said, recognizes the danger in that and what happened to Anakin, and how, you know, that emotion, and how, like, kind of giving into a lot of those worst impulses, where that can take you. But I would like, that suggests it's still in there, and I think we will get to see some of the banter. One thing I think they've got very right about her is the power scaling. She's someone you have to consider as strong a Jedi as we've ever seen, and I'm including Anakin in that. And then if you want to go even with Siths, I'd include, like, you know, Vader, Kylo. She's up there with anyone we've ever seen. And in this, she seems to have total control over the Force now, which is just like, they've got the power scale right. She is badass. Never have I seen such a convincingly badass female performance portrayed so well, that you're not seeing incels come out and go, well, she's a girl, she shouldn't be that strong. And that happens with every female lead these days. Captain Marvel, every female lead, you have these people come out. But there are two people where I've never seen, three characters I can think of in fiction where I've never seen it, because they're so just good at it and convincing. Michonne in The Walking Dead, the Bride in Kill Bill, and Ahsoka here. Everyone, because she's just so good at it. It's just like, yes, yeah, I believe it straight away. And that is a credit to how Rosario Dawson plays her, how she's obviously committed to the bit, how physical she makes the battles, and how well it's directed as well. So they've really got that aspect of it right.